So you somehow got massive amount of junk and you realize that you find your old PlayStation in your freaking attic or something. Well, now that you have those games, aren't you wondering what are the top hits you should get for those games? Today I'm going to be counting down 5 top games you should get for your PlayStation 1. Now, if you love Capcom's very famous Resident Evil, the horror genre that really started out with its predecessor also in Alone in the Dark, then you would love Silent Hill. Silent Hill was released on 24th of February in 1999. It was really a changing moment in all game history, even PlayStation, just a horror genre in general. Now in this game you are dropped in as Harry Mason, as he basically takes a night drive with his daughter Cheryl and they crash into a town called Silent Hill. You know, somehow along the way you encounter all these scary events. Going to school, you go to hospital, you go to a lot of very close-in places that make you feel really claustrophobic, and the atmosphere of the whole entire game is relied on the fog system. Now if you didn't know, fog in video games back then were basically just there because render distance was very hard to basically render, so you had that option where you could either add so much fog where people really can't see anything at all, or just stick with some colorful freaking backgrounds. Silent Hill did this very well with the fog, as every time it gets foggier and every time, you know, the radio starts playing really loudly, that's when you know you're in real danger. And I think that's the main key on why Silent Hill is probably one of the best psychological horror games to ever play. Now, is the first one on PlayStation, is it my favorite in the series? No. I believe it started out a series that basically made its way to its name today. But I think the best in the series, if you guys want to check it out, I know this isn't really a PlayStation 1 game, but Silent Hill 2 for the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox. Don't get the remaster, please don't get the remaster, but definitely do get the PlayStation 2 version. If you want to relive some old days, Silent Hill for PlayStation 1 is the best way to go. You're getting the best atmosphere, you're getting the best everything all around, and this was made in '99. I mean, psychological horror in video games weren't really a thing back then, besides, you know, the whole Resident Evil, maybe some other, you know, low-class games, but basically that's really all you had, and this took it to another level. So I completely agree on number 5 being Silent Hill. Now for number 4, I'm gonna pick Crash Bandicoot due to the fact that it was one of the best platform games at least released at the time. September 9th, 1996 was the first Crash Bandicoot game that was ever released. As of currently, it is actually the 8th best-selling PlayStation games of all time, selling over 6 million units. This was one of the best platform games you can ever really just pick up. Seriously guys, if you haven't played Crash Bandicoot, I suggest this game is one of the best platformers that can hardly beat. I mean, and Mario comes very close, but if you're on a PlayStation and you're trying to get away from the Nintendo era, I suggest playing Crash Bandicoot. Now my favorite in the series is the second Crash Bandicoot, as it incorporates more different level styles and also makes it a little more challenging. First game is always a fun game to play. The classic levels, you jump through the boxes, you know, all these enemies coming at you. It's a fun platformer, and I recommend that platformer very well for those who want old retro style gaming. Now, before Rock Band, before Guitar Hero, there was Pop Rappa the Rapper. This was one of the coolest games I had ever seen for the PlayStation. I remember when I was a little kid, I saw this one for the PlayStation 2. I was like, hey, this looks sick as hell. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna try it. And it was one of the best games I ever played, and probably was one of the coolest, like, rap. It's basically a rhythm game, and you basically just, you know, click the buttons. It's basically a quick time event with the words, and it's a very similar style that anyone can really get used to. You basically take this control of a rapper, which is, you know, a rapping dog, and he learns to basically rap with a lot of characters, and it's crazy. And, you know, there's also a remastered version for the PlayStation 4, which is also out, and I recommend, if you guys want to, go check this out. This is a really cool game for PlayStation 1, and this was released on 1996. That's insane. That's insane, man. Well, you rapping? Oh, man. You know what? Another thing that the 90s was great for? Racing games. And the racing game I'm going to be talking about today is Gran Turismo. It's one of the classic simulation racing games that you can get and it was developed by Polly's Entertainment, and it was released on May 12th of 1998 in North America, but Japanese got a little earlier in December 23rd, 1997, and it was the average racing game, but at the time, you know, it was very, very complex because of the AI that was really used for the cars, and there were so many designs, and this was really the breaking through of when I think video game companies were like, hey, maybe you can, you know, transform real life. The soundtrack was also freaking amazing for this game. This game really bumping soundtracks, and you know, reviews for this game are obviously praised. These have so many sequels up till this day. You know, with the new Gran Turismo games, I think every PlayStation console has a Gran Turismo. It always lives up to this point, and I always love driving my 1967 Chevrolet Corvette every time in arcade. 140 cars, 11 racetracks, you can't beat that. Really, you can't. Now, before I hit the #1 game that you should probably get for your PlayStation, why don't you hit the subscribe button first and ring that notification bell? Alright, now here's for #1. Ho ho ho, back to the days of the stealth mission. Now for #1, baby, I gotta give it to Metal Gear Solid. Now this game was released on September 3rd of 1998 by Hideo Kojima. Now, Konami basically did a whole turning point with this game, because this game let this action pace, you know, adventure mix all into one, and this was a PlayStation bomb. And but when I say bomb though, I mean like a good bomb, like it killed the PlayStation, and it was a really good game, being well received and selling over 6 million copies. Really one of the best and one of the most critical games of PlayStation history, with producing numerous amounts of sequels, prequels, spin-offs, freaking novels. It's a lot, but if you guys really want to go back to the original, that I would recommend Metal Gear Solid, the very first from PlayStation. Now there's a lot of other Metal Gear Solids, but I'm only talking about PlayStation here, so I recommend you to try this out. Alright guys, thank you for watching my video. As I mentioned, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, tell all your friends about the channel, because I'm going to be making more videos as I go on, and I love video games. I thought, why not doing something that I felt as though was, you know, fun to me at the time. So if this is fun to me at the time, I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep doing it. So yeah, and make sure to check out my other series and channel. So, goodbye.